Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the ActiveDadsRule State of Manhood Transformation Series. On last week, our special guest, Rick Emerson, Christian counselor, blessed us with some nuggets. And today's guest is none other than educator, Reginald Marcellas. Ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the second episode of the ActiveDadsRule State of Manhood Transformation Series. I have a special guest in the studio today, my friend, my man, Reginald Marcellas. What's going on, brother?
Good morning. Good morning. How you doing, Derek?
Man, thank you so much for being on the show today, man.
Glad to do it.
Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, I'm an educator in the DFW area. Married, have two wonderful wife, Angela. Have two great sons. Enjoying life and trying to make a difference in our society with my wife and my sons.
Yeah, that's good, man. I appreciate your contribution to education as well, which we're about to get into. And so, dads, we want you to know that you do matter. Listen to this. Dads make a big difference. Children who grow up with involved fathers are 39% more likely to earn mostly A's in school, 45% less likely to repeat a grade, 60% less likely to be suspended or expelled from school, 2 times less likely to go to college and find stable employment after high school, 75% less likely to have a teen birth, and 80% less likely to spend time in the gym. Dads, you do make a difference. Reginald, when the smoke clears and the dust settles, what is your perspective on the state of fatherhood in our country?
State of fatherhood, it's two ways you can look at it. It is an issue in our community, the absence of the father, not only in our community, but in America as a whole. I was watching the Fox News report, believe it or not, the other night, Carlson Tucker. He examined the absence of the father, irregardless of income level, whether it's low income, middle income, high income, whether you're African American, Hispanic, all cultures. The absence of a father has a huge impact on sons in the families or even daughters. Let me tell you a little story. I'm an educator, so I'm in class, and my students are coming into class, and you can see the look on their face. Something is troubling them. Don't know what it is. There's one student every day, she's just happy as she can be, happy as the Lord. So I stopped and said, "Why are you so happy?" He always in a great spirit, without hesitation. My daddy.
Wow.
I said, "Well, so what happens? What do y'all do? How is that possible? You know, what do you do to make you so happy?" "Oh, he just wakes me up in the morning. Then we go get donuts. Then he drops me off." You know, like you said, you have to be intentional,
right,
with your kids. So, dads, if you're not in the home, you have to be present. Right. And I think we're missing that, especially with our young men. I have run across students in my classroom on my campus that, unfortunately, either they don't see their pops or they don't know what their dad is.
Right.
So that is we have a role,
right,
in society. Right. Whatever baggage you have with someone, you cannot let that interfere with being a father to your child.
Right. You know, I was looking at a statistic. We have a responsibility. According to 0 to 3 National Parent Survey, both mom and dads agree that children are better off when both parents are involved. Based off what you're just saying here, that the kids are better off when the fathers are involved and both parents are involved. They're better off, and you've seen that as evidence with one of your kids that stands out with their enthusiasm, with their attitude towards school, or with what you're seeing in the classroom.
Yeah, absolutely. They're more capable of handling instruction, handling direction, because they get that at the home. When you have a student that's constantly rebelling or been oppositional, because they never had someone to discipline them. They're not sure. Think about your everyday conversation you have with your son in the morning. And I'm not talking about if you're correcting him or just an everyday walk in life with your son in the morning. When he gets up, he sees you. He sees your actions.
Right.
How are you behaving? How are you handling situations?
Right.
We're modeling for our sons every day and our daughters every day, whether we like it or not. So they see that.
Right.
So if you're correcting your son or daughter or offering them advice or redirection at home,
right,
they're more capable of handling it when they're away from home. And what we find is that what's the struggle is that they're not used to dealing with that. So automatically they think they're being attacked in defensive
Right.
mode. Hard to reach them. And so I think dads, even if you're not there under the same roof, be present in your child's life.
Right, that's absolutely correct, because just being present, and you were mentioning, being able to see the father within the home, because the father's attitude, the way that he speaks, the way that he acts, it rubs off on the children.
Absolutely.
Because children do more of what they see you do than what you tell them to do.
Exactly.
So you were right when you were saying modeling the proper behavior, being a leader, being the one that gives the example.
Yes.
Is very, very important. And I couldn't agree more, as being a former educator, that kids can get defensive when you try to instruct them to do something if they're not hearing it, some form of discipline at the home, and they get to school, and then you get to buck up against the teacher.
Yeah.
And that brings us to a good transition point. We'll be right back after this short break.
There is an impact of fatherlessness on education. Children who live without their fathers are more likely to have decreased school performance. Children who do not live with their fathers are more likely to experience behavior problems at school. 71% of all high school dropouts come from fatherless homes. Father, you are needed.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the second episode of the ActiveDadsRule State of Manhood Transformation Series. If you missed any part of this interview, please go back to the beginning and listen to the nuggets that has been dropped and discussed here with my friend Reginald, who's an educator in the DFW area. So Reginald, on this wrap up, what can we do as men to help transform our state and help or impact the educational system? What is it we can do?
Be present on campus. If a teacher calls and they're requesting a parent conference, be there. Be at that parent conference. Don't think that your child is under attack. They're asking for help so they can help your son. It may not be worded the way you like it. That's just life. Everybody's not a great communicator. Everybody's not going to write in sugar and spice.
Right.
They're going to see a problem, they're going to say it, and they're going to convey it the best way they possibly can. As a father, as a parent, just read what's happening, and then you need to be there to help your son.
Right.
Learn how to navigate, well, whatever the situation may be, how to navigate on that campus.
You know what I just thought about? I just thought about something. You brought up a very good point. I was in a campus improvement team meeting the other day with a particular school, some parent volunteers, staff, and I had discussed with them, because we're talking about parental involvement.
Right.
And I was saying that I believe it's important. I was thinking about this really for myself, for fathers and for mothers as well, to make well visits to the school. Because we'll get a high percentage of parents that come when the children are misbehaving, but what about making a well visit on days? Because everybody, look, if your parents show up, ooh, you must be in trouble.
Right,
That's
right,
kind of like the
right.
default perspective.
Yes.
Perspective.
Yeah.
But no, I'm not in trouble. Matter of fact, I took my wife some roses
Okay.
to school one time. Just no occasion. So first thing one of the ladies said was, and this was at her former school, said was, "What did you do? You must be in trouble." That was kind of like, because our society conditions that way. If a man brings flowers, he's in the doghouse.
Right.
If the parent visits the school, the child's in the doghouse.
Right.
But what if we make more well visits?
Right.
In addition to coming when certainly necessary when we need help, but making some well visits to the school just to say, hey, I told my daughter I'm going to come sit in your classroom. You got a 90 in the class.
Yeah.
I just want to come sit and be present, right? And so that just goes along with that. It made me think about that when you were speaking.
It's making deposits. You know, if you have a child in school and you need to make sure that on that profile there's a good contact number where the campus can reach you and discuss the situation with your children. You have to, we have times where you call a number, it's like working. That is not acceptable. I'm just going to be upfront with it. That's not acceptable. Campus needs to be able to contact the father and the mother about the child because they care. And you just have to be willing and accept that responsibility. Because as educators, we want the best for your child, just like you want to educate them so they can move forward in life, learn a trade or get a college education, be a productive member of society.
Right.
That's all we're trying to do. So contact, being open to contact and talking, and don't always assume that someone's attacking your child.
Right. Yeah. And that's
Then reach out and say, hey, how can we help your son or daughter be successful? And you cannot always side with your children. Let's be realistic.
That's right.
I have a son. I know my kid. I know what he's capable of doing.
Right.
Now, you go to school and you listen to what has happened. You need to let that child know that you're going to believe what they're saying. This is key. That child needs to understand that you're going to believe what the administrator and teacher is saying. Child leaves, then you hash it out with the educator. You get to the bottom of it.
Right, right.
You cannot let that child see you arguing or debating with an administrator or a teacher about behavior, because now it gives a kid proof or the confidence to do it.
You are absolutely right.
So don't,
you are absolutely
when
right.
the kid is gone, you had a conversation with the administrator, and you keep that between you and the administrator or teacher.
Right. If you got anything to hash out.
All that child needs to know is that the teacher's right. I need to follow instruction.
That's absolutely right. That's
And
right.
then
Many times.
let the parent handle it. As a parent, if there's something wrong with the situation, you feel your child has been mistreated, you handle that in separate situation, separate doors.
You know, that's interesting you say that, because when I'm a former educator as well, and when I was in the high school arena, and I saw it all too often.
Yeah.
The parents came through the door ready.
Yeah.
Came through the door.
Right.
It wasn't no, because the child had told them something.
Yeah.
And so you know how it is, Reggie. You know, the first person's story sounds believable until you hear the second.
That's right.
You know, and so we do have to be careful
Right.
not to automatically blame the teacher, because especially if we do that in the presence of the child, then it gives them fuel to say, you know what, I got my parents' soul on this, and it gives me a green light to even do it again, because it won't stop happening.
Exactly.
And you're right, to handle, if you disagree or you found some stuff off color, you can do that separate from the child. But that child needs to believe that, look, you here at this school, this teacher's right, and then you hash out. Sound like marriage, right? You hash it out. Hash it out, right?
And then you go back and you train the child, say, hey, now moving forward, this is how you navigate the situation.
Right, right.
Then you teach them as they get older, like, hey, sometimes a decision you may not agree with, but handle it with dignity, be cordial, because there will be a day when you will be heard. But at that moment, search for peace. Because what happens is a confrontation. When there's a situation, your kid's been called out, whatever, then it ignites or whatever. You know, you have to de-escalate. A child has to learn how to do this. So the parent needs to teach your child that, hey, before you, just accept the consequences.
Then we'll
take care of it.
Right, right.
But that child needs to know that they have to listen to the teacher. They cannot see you going back and forth with the teacher.
Right.
That is a very good point. And parents, you cannot badmouth a teacher in front of the child. Right. Because they're going to deal with the teacher.
They're going to deal. That's
so they have another issue. So now they're blocking out anything that teacher's trying to do for them educationally. They're blocking it out.
Right. That's right. That's good. So Reggie, one last thing here.
Yes, sir.
What charge do you have for the men out there? Give us about 30 seconds, man. What's the charge?
Hey, be present. Let the baggage go. Sacrifice. You brought that child into the world. That was not their choice. You did that. Be there. Guide them. Love them. Be present and respectful.
That's it. Rich, let's pray. If you don't mind praying, man, we'll pray, and then we'll
Father,
we'll go on.
Is to follow your example.
Father, in the name of Jesus, we thank you. We thank you for this time of fellowship, Father. We just thank you, God, as you have helped us, God, to be encouragement to others, Father. Help us, God, to pour into the lives of men and women, God, that are watching, God, as we strive, God, to transform our world and our school system, God, by being present, by being active, and being engaged. We pray, God, that someone is touched by this video, Father, and that they share it, God, and be an inspiration to someone else, God, as we all strive to do that. And we thank you, God. In Jesus' name. Amen. All right, Reginald. Thank you, man.
Thank you.
for joining us today. Many of you have reached out to me asking for more information. I will post the website address to some fatherhood websites that can be some material for you to read and to research and look that can help you be even better. Because according to statistics, fathers want more information, and that information to be shared along with the email address of my guest today. If you have any questions that you would want to ask him or anything you want to email him about, his information is right here below the screen, and so is mine. And so listen, let's transform together. Thank you for watching. Take care.
Yes, Father, we declare today that we want to be more like you. If that's your desire, lift your hands, lift your voices, and sing unto the Father. Lord,